Hello everyone, this is Insane College Football, and today we're going to be counting down the top 5 features we need in EA Sports College Football 25. I'm excited for this game, like I assume many of you are as well, and so I think it just makes sense before the big reveal of, the trailer and the gameplay and all that, to really concretely define how I would view the game as a success. So I came up with 5 criteria and some honorable mentions of things that I think should be in the next EA Sports College Football game. I think we should get the honorable mention out of the way first, and I believe that all features that were in NCAA 14 should be in this game in some form, and ideally they should be improved if possible from that game. It kind of makes the game difficult to imagine playing over NCAA 14 if they just decided to remove custom conferences or something like that. Imagine if there wasn't any custom conferences in the game. Would you play it? I wouldn't, especially with all the realignment that's going on that's honestly not a good thing and that most fans don't like. So I think, there's a lot of the features in the game that I could see them removing that I wish that they wouldn't and I hope that they wouldn't. And so if it was in NCAA 14, I don't think we should take it for granted, but I wish I didn't have to say that. And so now we'll move on to number 5. So at number 5 on the list, you're already going to notice a pattern, so I might as well just say it. I think that customizability is going to be the main lens through which I view EA Sports College Football as a success. And what I mean by that is you should be able to customize virtually everything in this game, because why not? I think if you're going to tailor the experience towards fans, you need to have customizability. And so number 5, I think there should be a custom play creator. The last game where I can remember them putting in a custom play creator was Madden for the 3DS, and I don't really know how good it was in that game. But I think you should be able to create custom plays in this game. It makes a lot of sense. It's something that we really haven't had in a college football game, to my knowledge. And so I think, allowing players to customize their playstyle in terms of not only like the playbook and the given plays that you already have in the game, but also being able to create their own, just makes for a better fan experience. And, honestly, I think it would add a challenge to online play from the sense of you see a formation, you don't immediately know what to defend when you're playing a player online. And that could create some extra challenges and make the game a lot more competitive for players. I guarantee you, players and fans are going to spend a lot more time making their custom playbooks than Johnny Manziel spent looking at his in the NFL. Actually, I can guarantee that because that's a pretty low bar to begin with. At number 4, I think there should be more uniforms than just the ones that exist in real life in the new EA Sports College Football game. I think that it would be a nice treat for fans to be able to experience this. Maybe have, powder blue pants for Ole Miss, or, orange and blue, pants and helmets for Auburn, even though they don't exist in real life, as just another way of creating customizability again for the player. And maybe this could come in the form of not just preset uniforms that are in the game, but also through a uniform creator. I know that I would use that heavily, and I imagine a lot of other people would as well. I'm not going to get my hopes up for features like this, of course, but I think it would be nice, to just have for the players, because I think people would respond to that very well, and it would justify the price tag of the game. Not like it needs any more justification. We've been without this game for over a decade, so people have been waiting for it, and they'd pay the money for it. But I do think that having, more uniforms in the game, and maybe even, here's an idea, maybe even, past uniforms that aren't currently in use for teams. I know everyone's clamoring to have the ULM camo Duck Commander uniforms in a video game because they've never been in a video game before. And, of course, that's kind of a meme, but it is really, it's an idea. Especially because some schools have actually pared down the number of uniforms that they have from what they used to have. Some schools used to have a lot more uniforms in the past than they do now, and I think it would give players more choices if they had access to those. At number 3, I think there should be varied scheduling. One of the biggest gripes I have with NCAA 14 is the scheduling in that game. Because once you start a dynasty with the team, that team is going to virtually play the same teams in the same order every year, just with the home and away switched. At least in conference, that's going to happen. And I really hope that that doesn't happen in this game, because in actual college football, that does not happen. In actual college football, you could play one team, in week 4 one year, and then play them right before rivalry week the next year. And I do think that this game should mimic the real life as much as possible while giving players the chance to customize things. Maybe customize the number of out-of-conference games. I know in NCAA 14, the SEC and the ACC would have 9 conference games in that game despite having 8 in real life because of the way the scheduling algorithm worked. And it left you little room to add non-conference games if you wanted to schedule certain teams out of conference to bolster your schedule. Well, now you have more room to do that if you choose. And side note on that as well, since I know divisions are gone, maybe give players the chance to bring them back. Maybe give players a chance to add divisions back into their game if they want to. With as much of college football as is changing, and for players that are nostalgic for the past and the way things were, at least give them that solace in the form of a video game instead of just having no outlet for that once great college football that they used to know. Even as much customization for schedules as NCAA 14 used to have, there were still limits to it, and I think varying the order of the conference games and the conference opponents you play. Now, obviously, certain games are going to appear at the same point every year. Georgia and Georgia Tech are going to play at the end of the season every single time. That's just the way things are. Alabama and Tennessee are going to play on the third Saturday in October, or around there most of the time. But, for offhand, contests that might happen every year, Alabama versus Ole Miss doesn't need to happen the same time every time. Purdue versus Northwestern doesn't happen at the same time every year. The number 2 feature I want to see in the new EA Sports college football game is realistic simulation. I do have another gripe with the NCAA 14, and it's a minor gripe because obviously I still play the game a lot. But Alabama would go downhill almost immediately if you didn't pick Alabama for your dynasty, which, let's be honest, who does? I don't think Alabama and Georgia and Ohio State and these really good teams should immediately fall off in every dynasty within the first few years. And, on that same token, the FCS upsets shouldn't happen like they do. You shouldn't have 2 or 3 of the top 25 losing to FCS schools every year, it seems like. And as well as this, Army and Navy shouldn't be competing for national titles almost immediately in every single dynasty you load up. Some people might think that this adds to the charm of the game. I don't. It makes every dynasty rather similar most of the time, which, at number 1, I have a feature that I don't think would be that meaningful to very many people, but it is to me, and that is custom postseason. I think that we should be able to mess around with the conference bowl bids, considering how the conference realignment has kind of nuked those, in all honesty. Or maybe something like the utility tool from College Football Revamped. But more importantly than the bowls, why not let us change the size of our playoff? Maybe we could go from a BCS system to a choice of the 4-team playoff to a choice of 12-team playoff, and even beyond that, maybe, let us expand our playoff even more if we want to. Maybe let us add a slider for auto bids or no auto bids. Let us add in all sorts of sites for the national championship, Houston, Dallas, Atlanta, Miami, Indianapolis, Los Angeles. There's so many things about the postseason that I think the user should be able to tweak and change at their discretion. And really, there's so many things about this game that I wish we could tweak and change at our discretion, and I really hope that features like that end up in the game. As you saw, the theme of this video was customization. So, that's it for me. Stay tuned for more college football coverage on this channel. A like and a subscription goes a long way. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.